I guess I'll just keep on going. 'Cause, like, if anything, I just want to keep on hinting at this, like, rovnys-ricfer talking in the 0K podcast, because it's just like I keep on coming back to it. It's just like I just love what it made me realize about her. But yeah, I want to refer to that because I want to dive into the limitations of Hawk and how Hawk is amazing and it's making strides and it's doing a really great job of being a browser shrubbery where you have like URL paths and that is your namespace and you can compute over it and serve it and like have very broad access control. Like people can see it or people can poke it or they can't. Hawk has like boosted us forward. It's like very capable. It's one of the most interesting things happening in the user space world. Lovely example of shrubbery. However, it does not have what Clay has. Hawk doesn't have that stuff. And as soon as it does, it would be complete and great. And so let me slice that up a little bit as somebody who's done a lot with Hawk and has kind of found where the kind of limitations are and how it does impact what I want to do with the guitar course that I have made. Yeah, it kind of just comes down to Hawk working over the network, that I have a namespace, somebody else has a namespace in Hawk, and right now the only way they can talk to each other, you have to export out your tree of their namespace, and then they have to like import it into theirs. It is not getting sent over their AIMs or over the network, which is what all the other Gall apps can do, which is like, oh, here's an update, sync your desk to my desk. And whenever I make a change to it, you get an update. Hawk can't do that right now. And so that'd be a big one. So like if my guitar course was a Gall app, I could have people install it on an Urbit. And if I wanted to make a change that impacts everybody, I could just send out that. They sync to my ship, my distribution ship. I make an update. It goes out to them. They upgrade. And like that system works and is great. And that's a Clay thing. And like Hawk does not allow me to do that. It does allow me to like post it onto the internet. People can come to it if I give them the right URL. But nobody can subscribe to that like tree, the guitar course tree on my Hawk. And when I make a change, it like updates to them. So none of that is happening. And the sad face, right? And it'd be really useful. Like I think it'd be nice to do that. I'd like for my students to buy a copy, and then they hold on to it, and then I kind of update it for them. And then if they're not on Urbit, then they just come and visit I just leave mine publicly open, and they can come and see it. If they have the right URL, right? The second thing is Hawk does not keep revision control. So to use the example I just used, if I was to give somebody the guitar course in Hawk, they assume that we could sync up Hawk trees. If I updated mine, so say I wanted to make it worse, right? Like say it's like I'm gonna delete somebody's favorite lesson and replace it with something else that like they don't want. They have the original version and I'm gonna update it. In Hawk, it would literally just erase it. Like it'll just transform what's exactly at that spot. There's no reference to transparency and there's no revision control. It doesn't save the last version. If it was in Clay, somebody could be like, okay, this is Butkus. I'm going to revert back to last week when my version of the app was exactly how I liked it and I know where everything is. Because they would still have a copy of the old version. And that would be nice. I would like that. I am a fan of if you publish anything, you are letting it free and you no longer own it in that sense. Like you can't reverse that publishing and proclamation to the world. So I'm for that. But Hawk does not do that. You can't sync across the network, but even if you did, you would end up like erasing people's namespace in like a pretty unfortunate way. And so it's like it doesn't have that Martian part of it. And then the last thing is really, it comes down to a more granular access control. So right now, any given part of the tree and its subtree and its subfiles, you can make a proclamation that it's private. Nobody can, if they come to the right URL, they cannot get in. Or you make it so that they can view it, they can peek into it and see what's there and just get whatever HTML page that Hawk page generates. And I just got nervous that I might be lost because I don't remember. I remember it looking backwards, but not this way, which is the classic white man problem, not understanding that rocks and trees look different on the backside than it does on the front when you pass it. Well, hiking tip, you may, if you come through a confusing part, it's useful to look back and try to imagine what it would look like returning down the path. I think I hear voices. Okay, I don't think they're on this path. Just crossed over a little river thing. Could easily slipped in, dropped the microphone. Okay, so Hawk is a lot more broad, where you can let people view the web page or all of its subtree, or you can, if you have something that's interactorable, nice, good word, interactorable. If they can interact with that Hawk page, like, I don't think it's like clicking things, but because you can have JavaScript that allows for clicking, and it can be just peek. So, but you can give it poke permissions to the rest of the world too. Like, oh, can other people poke and interact with this? And that's it. Like, it's broad because it's either public or private, viewable or interactable, and you can't say, hey, this set of ships actually paid for the guitar course. So now they're on a whitelist where only they have to come in, log in, and then they can get into the guitar course. So that like access control, having a whitelist, a set of ships that can get into it. Hawk can't do that. I hacked together a version that works, but I don't think it's, when it ultimately settles in, I don't think that's going to be the solution, but I was able to do something. It's like, so again, Clay actually has those permissions written in already. You can give it a set of ships and be like, these people can see it, or these people can't see it. And you have this whole like gang or crew or whatever it is that you can go to that level. And you can do read and write access just the same in that kind of file system kind of manner. And so it's like basically Clay and like the very Martian things has really already solved these things. So like to review, it's like being able to sync things over the network, communicate over the network. It's the having everything be referentially transparent, as well as revision controlled, so that the old versions can be saved and pulled back up for reference later. It's the ability to have access control of who can see this specific thing. And it's like, there's just something a little bit off about the fact that Hawk would need to completely replicate the already solved things on Clay in order to do this thing. And it's like, that seems a little bit wrong. Like it seems possible, but like it doesn't seem like, I don't feel like Migrev Dulceg should be spending the time doing that, right? And so like it's hard to, so like kind of in conclusion, I think it's a little bit hard not to imagine that what you need is a rewrite, like kind of Clay and Gall rewrite that makes it look a lot more like Shrubbery, where there are no apps. There's just computation over the namespace. And you have to like build those rules out, and that's a part of Shrubbery and a part of Neo. And like, who knows, like, a Clay and Gall rewrite is like a big deal. It's a really big deal. It's like saying that nonchalantly is kind of ridiculous. But at the very least, like, I think of, if Clay needs to just be doing what it's doing as like a build system for Hoon, and not like not doing access control, not doing like fine grain serving of files, which it can do. Like, I don't know if everybody doesn't know this, but you can do an HTTP scry into somebody else's clay, and if they have that desk made public, like bar public desk, and I think as long as it can become a MIME type, you can pull it up. And so I have images in my Urbit that you could pull up if you just go to the right HTTP endpoint, or I can serve up a web page and I can be pointing, I can have a relative link going into the right place, but really it's pulling it out of clay. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. What am I saying? Oh, rewrites, right? So at the very least, like if clay needs to be doing what clay is doing, then creating a new vein that's like the shrubbery vein, and it has a namespace, and it's all about serving things and like putting things out there and maybe not building hoon, like I've heard that's what clay's for. Then it's like that experimentation, I think, is required. Yeah, I'm definitely not the person to do it. I have heard that there is a tension going into clay. There's a tension going into Gall. And like, yeah, anyways, that's it. That's my, Urbit made some great, strong choices to start with. The relatively new user space Gall app model, it didn't pull those things in, and so it just wasn't Martian enough. And Hawk is very much Martian, but it would have to reinvent the Martian solutions to be completely Martian again. And so we're in this kind of weird space. But like, as far as I can see it, like if we move forward with either shrubbery or doubling down on the like, no, Gall is a protocol maker vein. And that is much closer to kernel space than it is user space. And, you have like Talon just kind of takes that over, right? Like in their Gall app, if they re-implement basically a shrubbery style thing, then like maybe that's the right way, right? Talon just kind of moves over to a namespace computer inside their Gall protocol, right? In quotes. Then they could move forward and not have all these headaches, potentially. I don't know, but yeah, I think that explains it a little bit better, not meandering and time wasting. Did this in the last video, but like I'm attending the core developer calls, and I like doing that because it's very encouraging to me. With all the turmoil, it's very surface level, all the like what's happening and the coups and the whatnot. Like these are just like pebbles being thrown on the surface, but really like at the very bottom, the people who are building Urbit, like the actual Urbit, they never really got involved, and they're just they know what they need to get done, and they're working on it, and they're making strides. They're looking at the ideas from all the excitement in 2021, 2022. They're considering them, and they're looking at it, and they're actually like implementing and moving forward. And they meet regularly, they're having fun. Like the energy is inspiring and contagious, and it's just like the horse I'm betting on. That's mile marker 19. Somebody could maybe assume my pace, which is a strong mosey, 2 miles an hour or something. Yeah, so I feel good about it. I also feel good about having built my course on Hawk. I think that's great. Migrev has also done some really interesting things with Hawk, like releasing probably one of the most powerful chat apps out of all the chat apps on Urbit, and that's quite exciting. And yeah, I think mostly positive things. There's people wanting to expand into Bitcoin and making comets cool again. There's the UF is just thinking about core and not marketing or tokens, and I think that's great. And then we've got I don't know, strong Silicon Valley DC vibes somewhere else, and that's exciting in some ways with its potential tokenization and whatnot. And we will see what happens there, but those things don't matter. People making Urbit are moving forward, And I hope we learn from the Gall app era. And there's still stuff that we can be done, like it's not over. I recently watched an interview titled The Rise and Fall of Urbit. I had also read the article, I skimmed the article, Rise and Fall of Urbit. The interview was good. Adina, I think, really saw what was going on, and I think she represented it well. It certainly is hyper-focused on that, like the aftermath, the 2021, 2022, and is not aware of this kind of current condition of Urbit, its potential to move forward. And I think to make sense of that, it is helpful to see it as like a Gall issue, So it's to say, the rise and fall of Urbit, I hope it's premature. I hope it's more like the rise and dip of Urbit, and it's that story. But it's true, if we don't move past Gall and Gall just stays the way it is, and that's how apps are on Urbit, it's just not gonna happen. Like, all this other strange weirdness is going to be a problem if we run into the exact same problems anyways, right? Like, why would you bother with all the weirdness of hoon and knock, statically typed junk, functional programming, if you end up like having the same problems, if not worse problems? You might as well be in a space where AI can write it for you. But I think we can move past that, and and if we can't, the rise and fall of Urbit will stand as like the historical record. But I think all that stuff was just ripples on top of the pond. On the bottom, it's just peaceful work happening. You got beavers and mud crabs, and they're all doing their thing. They don't really care what's happening outside the water. Just focus and calm and working out stuff. Yeah, so that's it. I am nordus-mocwyl. Thank you for joining me on this extended walk and talk in the dark for you, but not yet in the dark for me. Last year, I created a fund for making more Urbit videos. I still have the last milestone open. If you want to encourage me making more Urbit videos like this, I'll leave the link to the fund in the description so that you can send me some USDC or promise to send me USDC. That'll encourage me to make videos. And I am still committed to giving a portion of what I get to give directly, because I just believe in give directly in such a strong way that I can't get into it here. It does go to charity, not just me. So it's half encouragement, half charity, right? Worried about running into somebody here. But yes, I will see you in the next rant. Cheers.